All right.
All right, so we should be going on live right now. Hey guys, so this is the second live stream of the day introducing Jimmy Song from Off Chain. Thank you guys for watching Box Mining. And Jimmy Song, we're gonna do this on the same channel as well, on your channel too at the same time. So, Jimmy, do you want to introduce yourself and
Yeah,
let's go?
yeah. Well, welcome to Off Chain. Off Chain live with Box Mining. Obviously, happy to see how this cross channel promotion stuff works. I've respected Box Mining for a while. He puts out a lot of great content, and he definitely has a thing or two to teach me about YouTube streaming because he's a pro, man. Just even setting this up, I'm like, man, yeah, that's pretty cool. Like you can stream to two different places at the same time, and yeah, it's really cool. I'm very excited to be on here.
And Jimmy, thank you so much for just contacting me because you contact me and I'm like, okay, I'm free right now. Let's do a live stream. And he's like, yeah, I'm jump on board.
Yeah, it's my third live stream today. I did my daily show in the morning. Then we had the Bitcoin Cash hard fork that happened in the afternoon that I wanted to make sure that my viewers got. And now we're doing a third one. I'm excited. We'll see where this conversation goes and go from there.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm Box Mining. So anyone on Jimmy's channel, I'm Box Mining. I do YouTube stuff. But Jimmy is the true legend. He's been on my show once. Like it's been amazing, amazing talent because he's got the programmer side. He's been, writing stuff for Bitcoin, even for Bitcoin itself. Like you've done so much work for it, and it's so much value to have from a true programmer in this field. So guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Smash that like button on both the channels, and we have both the chats running at the same time. So it's gonna be absolutely crazy, but it's gonna be absolutely fun as well. We're going to talk about Bitcoin and this whole Bitcoin situations here. So, Jimmy, I would love to hear what you guys have to say about Bitcoin Cash. I mean, so much has happened over these past few days about Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah, indeed. And this is the third time I'm talking about it today. Yeah, it's I obviously they had a massive price rise, and that had consequences that I don't think we really quite anticipated. I think we could have figured it out if we just did the math. But basically, over the weekend, when there was that huge spike up to almost like zero point 0.5 Bitcoin, which is like crazy to me because it was 1/10 of that just like a week and a half ago. So it went up like 10x relative to Bitcoin. And then, it fell right back down. But that caused, mining to be really profitable on Bitcoin Cash as opposed to Bitcoin, and that meant a lot of miners. If I calculated correctly, it was like 66% of all mining hash power went from Bitcoin to Bitcoin Cash, and then as soon as they sort of mined out that difficulty adjustment period, that's like 2016 blocks, they came right back to Bitcoin. So. And then the emergency difficulty adjustment got sort of sunset, and they had a new difficulty adjustment algorithm that came into existence today, about like, I don't know, that was like 7 or 8 hours ago. And now their difficulty adjustment adjusts every block. So it's kind of crazy. And Cash.coin.dance has sort of statistics on which one's more profitable to mine. Not sure if they take fees into account quite yet, and that's really hard to predict, right? Because like fees are kind of fluctuating.
Yeah,
The mempool on Bitcoin right now is pretty full, and there's a lot of high value, high fee transactions in the mempool. So yeah, it's kind of a crazy situation, and like, to add fuel to the fire, we have a possible 2x hard fork coming in like 3 days.
so
Which case,
basically, it's no sleep for you for the next week or so. Like
yeah. So I mean, I got lots and lots. I picked a great time to start a daily show, I guess, because there's like plenty to talk about. But that might just be Bitcoin in general. But yeah, but if you split hash rate 3 ways, and whoever is like the most profitable is gonna get it. And there's some rumors that like I don't know if you've noticed like Bitcoin difficulty, but it dropped significantly after the last difficulty adjustment. So there's actually a lot less hashing power on the Bitcoin network, and Bitcoin plus Bitcoin Cash even. There's less than it was maybe than it was like 5 days ago. And people were wondering what happened. Where did this mining hash power go? It was something like 30% of the entire hashing power. And the 2x on the 2x mailing list was this post by I forget what his name, Pico Bid.
Yeah,
or something
Pico.
like
That guy. We took 30% of the hash power and we're gonna save it up for my spaceship.
So, I mean, that's his argument, is that hey, we took it offline and we are going to release it for 2x. And you know, as a result, like that 30% going away and Bitcoin Cash being more profitable, that caused like a transaction backlog like you wouldn't believe. And you know, I don't know if you've seen any of the charts, but I mean, there were transactions paying like $100 just to get into the next block, which is crazy to me. But I mean, I guess if it's a high value enough transaction, then you would do it. And you know, this is sort of the argument. You know, hey, how much of this is actually spam? How much of it is, you know, created by miners? How much of it is, you know, real? And that's
crazy.
This is you know, it's a fun space to be in,
because
you
one thing is like, so you actually verified that 30% hash rate was gone, right?
Yeah. So if you let me see if I can share something. How do I share?
Oh, it's impossible. Don't. Oh, hey. All right. All right. So he disappeared from chat. I think. Okay, he's coming back now. Hey, Jimmy.
Yeah,
it's very impossible.
It looks like a share button. But I mean, you could just go to like Bitcoin Wisdom, and there's difficulty in the upper right that says 1,364,000,000,000, something like that. And then the next difficulty is 974 billion, which is about 30%. Well, it's actually over 30%. It's might be a little bit closer to like 35 or something like that percent drop. And that's like just sort of hash power. We don't know where it went. So I don't know. Maybe there's another hard fork.
It's possible. You know, I never thought miners, like, in my mind, miners will always do what's most profitable for them. So, you know, I've been mining for a while, and there's these algorithms that you can switch, right? There's these programs you can switch between what's most profitable, especially if you're GPU mining. You can switch between music coin, or you can switch between anything that is most profitable. In fact, NiceHash, the one I recommended, always auto switches between what's most profitable. So, like, I've never really worried too much about not having hash power, because difficulty readjusts, right? I mean, if no one's mining it, it's going to go down, and it's going to be so profitable, someone's going to jump on. So I've never worried that much about mining. But what baffles me is that 30% of that hash power can go offline. I mean, that's millions of dollars.
Yeah, why would it go offline? I don't
like, is this for real? I thought this guy was joking, right? I thought, like, you know, he, like where does, if you're running a company,
it disappeared. The numbers are very clear. So but yeah, I mean, there's some speculation. I mean, if I were like sort of putting my tinfoil hat on, I would say, well, that 30% was reserved for attacking the main chain. You know, like whenever 2x was supposed to hard fork, well, now they're going to just utilize it to do the 2x hard fork in the first place. So I don't know. There's so many sort of conspiracy theories. Why would you take it off? At least take it off later, right? It's like an unproductive asset while it's just collecting dust. Or I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they're trying to selfishly mine or something. You know, and Mingun Sire has been crowing about a selfish mining attack for years now. Who knows? Maybe this is the one miner that's like putting that to the test.
But it just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, it's a business. But you know, the guy who always wins from this is Bitmain, because you know, he sells that power, right? He's like the only guy who's selling power right now in terms of like miners that are
selling shovels to a bunch of gold miners, right? Like
exactly.
Those are the guys that made the most money during the gold rush.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But one thing, of course, is that Bitcoin Cash had this whole difficulty readjustment thing, which was absolutely bonkers if you think about it, right? It one day became very profitable to mine, then it difficulty readjusts, and then no one mines it anymore, and then there's no blocks being made, and then it goes into emergency mode. It's like, It's
Yeah,
proof.
I mean that's what they fixed today. Is that now it adjusts every single block based on the last 144 blocks and how long it took. But yeah, I mean we'll see. I mean theoretically, the hash power then should very closely follow price.
Yes. Yes.
So they should be at equilibrium at all points.
Hmm.
The thing about that you said about sort of like switching pools and software to do that, it's fairly easy with sort of altcoins that don't get that much traffic, right? Like that don't incur very much in fees. But once you add fees to the equation, that calculation becomes very difficult because you have to project what the fees will be for the next few blocks or whatever. And you almost have to do it on like a block to block basis. So over the weekend, there was a block on Bitcoin that had 13 Bitcoins in
Oh
fees.
shit.
Yeah, so it
Seriously?
doubled. It doubled the mining reward for one lucky miner. But I mean that wasn't like an exception. There were a bunch of blocks around it that had, I mean, some enormous fees. I mean, this is sort of like the first time that I've seen where it wasn't some sort of like fat fingered mistake or something on the mining fee. Where like the actual fees were greater than the reward. So I like that software. I imagine is going to be as hard to write as the fee estimation algorithm.
Yeah.
To figure out, hey, which do we mine? Well, the blocks here tend to be full, so the fees are going to be higher. So we have to take that into account. And it's not like a trivial amount on Bitcoin either now. I mean,
It's crazy. I was always under an impression that fees were low, but yeah, I guess now that fees are getting higher and higher. I was trying to take some Bitcoin out of my exchange, and I think the exchange that I was using, it didn't have a set fee. It had like the market fee, and it was charging me like 0.004 Bitcoin. I calculated out, I was like, that's like $250, bro. Like,
oh my god!
like, no, no, I'm gonna sell that. I'm gonna change that to Ethereum, and then I'm gonna change it because I'll eat those exchange rate before I eat those fees up. So
Well, I'm just gonna leave it on the. I don't know. It's almost worth leaving, taking that exchange risk so you don't have to pay. The thing is, like, it's a lot better now. Even like right now, it's like way better than it was over the weekend. But like how long it like. If you add SegWit 2x to the equation, and if some miners go over, I mean, it would be economically irrational for them to do so. But if they did, well, then it's going to get even more clogged. It's so much traffic on the Bitcoin network right now.
it's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. But I mean, okay, in terms of long-term vision, because I've been thinking about this for a while, right? You're a programmer. We definitely know that programming and improvements take a long time. How long do you think we can solve the issues on Bitcoin? Right? Is it
what issues do you perceive there to be?
Large transaction fees. That is probably one of the biggest issues. Like, when can we even see tier 2 or tier 3 networks? This Lightning network, we've been talking about it for a while, but we don't see anything in relation to that, right? In terms of
they're live on testnet. I mean, there's
true. We saw beef
economic swaps and stuff. Yeah. So, but we'll see. I'm thinking that by next month we'll at least see something on mainnet that might work. I know Liz Stark at Lightning Labs and that whole team, they're working very hard on it. But there's multiple implementations, including Digital Currency Initiative, and there's another one I forget. There's a bunch of implementations. I'm excited for it, but I mean, to some degree, kind of like SegWit, there's not that many SegWit transactions on the network yet, and that was released, back in August. Even if Lightning comes on next month, it's probably 5-6 months before it has sort of like critical mass and a lot of people start using it. So it's. Yeah, I mean, relief is coming, but like the instant relief that people want, probably not yet. And this is the thing, right? Like Bitcoin Cash, their value proposition is we can offer instant relief right now, and now everything's gonna go through fast. Except there are consequences to what they're doing too, because they're mining out the reward a lot faster and their inflation rates faster. So they're going to get to the halving faster. And, I mean, who knows what happens to the Bitcoin Cash price, but you get to the mining reward, halving faster. Well, now all of a sudden you're not nearly as profitable and there's not as much hash rate protecting your chain. So, I mean, that's already kind of the case, right? But
it was always going through this crazy seesaw mechanism, and I thought that was like the least safe thing about Bitcoin Cash. Like, it was just absolutely crazy. But of course, I mean, there is a issue of patience, right? I'm trying to be neutral on both sides, I guess. Like, I've been trying for a while, but of course, I'm more tending towards Bitcoin. So I did get some criticism. I did put on these glasses. I'm not sure if you watched my last episode I did with Crypto Daily. I put on these glasses and I tried to be a Bitcoin Cash supporter.
I need to learn these gimmicks, man. I got so much to learn from your YouTube stuff, but.
It's Crypto Daily, man. He's the guy to follow. He came up with the idea.
I mean, I think I can make an argument, but to some degree, it seems mostly like medium of exchange arguments to me still. And it's not like you just switch development teams. Now you have Detolnix and maybe like 5 other guys, whereas Bitcoin has this very large and abundant developer ecosystem. I mean, it's still not enough, but it's certainly more than Bitcoin Cash.
It is, and it's really stable. I've been saying that for a while. Bitcoin has the most stable development team. Core has been around for a while. It's not just it's not. I'm gonna put these on. Bitcoin's not just some group of developers that's been haphazardly running this for a while, right? It's been on for a while, but the problem is, of course, I think there is definitely a lack of communication coming from Core. We don't see, like, people are screaming, oh man, it's painful, and we have people that are kind of a little bit confused as well, because people have comparison charts coming up and they're like, oh yeah, Bitcoin Cash is way better in terms of these specs. But sometimes you're like, oh man, like, what specs are you looking at, man? Like,
yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell like what to take seriously, and like the people that are clearly Bitcoin Cash supporters, like, got really mad at me for the article that I released this morning. There's a ton of people that like sort of repeat certain things, and you can kind of tell where they're coming from, or what arguments they're going to make before they make them. And this is sort of the balkanization of Bitcoin right now. Lots of extremes, not much in the middle. Hopefully you and I can be in that middle space, that very large middle ground, I think. But that said, it's been painful, sort of,
to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, even on these like private email lists of a bunch of Bitcoiners that I'm on, it's kind of a lot of people calling each other names and stuff. It's a little bit like, oh man, I wish we could get past this, but I mean, in a way, maybe that's a good thing. I don't know.
I don't know. It's the price of. I've always said it's the price of decentralization, right? We do always resort to, just like, it's passion combined with decentralization. I think a lot of people are very passionate about certain causes. Money makes it worse, because I did have a comment today that's like, oh, you don't support Bitcoin Cash because you sold it. My response was like, oh shit, I should just buy exactly the same amount of Bitcoin Cash, so now I can still bash Bitcoin Cash and I still own it. I removed that argument out of the thing. But at the end of the day, I think it's a lot of people who are very passionate about their own coin, and of course that gets things much worse. I do want to say though, I do have a little bit of experience in the gaming industry. So in the gaming industry, we actually have 2 sides. So we have explorers. So there's this argument, right? There's these people that are explorers, people who like to explore new technology, and then there's exploiters, right? People who push that technology and explain it to people. And what I see right now is that all the exploiters went to Bitcoin Cash and all the explorers are in Bitcoin. So we
Oh,
have
that's a really cool distinction. So you're saying that the people that want to utilize sort of the public good of the blockchain, right? Like all of the free block space that they're getting on Bitcoin Cash are on Bitcoin Cash. The people that are, I guess, more interested in making like the technology better, they're on Bitcoin. And there might be some truth to that. I don't know. It is very interesting though, that very distinction that you're making. Well, who signed the New York agreement? Right, like, well, they're the people that wanted to exploit the blockchain a little bit, and who spoke out against it. Well, it's the people that want to see the technology succeed. So it's a very interesting distinction you've made there. Yeah,
and it's such a shame because, you know, in gaming the any argument is you need 50-50. You need so in gaming, especially because in gaming we have a lot of technologies. There's new game engines coming out. There's new ways to render graphics. There's new ways to process quests and stuff, and there's no new ways to store data. But the problem is you need those people who can grow that into a fully functioning piece of art. Right? Because gaming is not just technology, it's art. So a gaming company to be successful, the one argument that was made was that you need 50-50. You need 50% explorers, the guys who kind of experiment with new technology, and you need 50% exploiters who would take that technology to the next level. So it's a team. But the shame that I'm seeing now is that the exploiters have gone off to Bitcoin Cash, you know, those Bitcoin evangelists. And I think it's very easy to underestimate the value of Roger Ver. You know, Roger is such a passionate speaker. He really speaks for this, and he can convince so many people to go on board. And it's not just him as well, right? There's definitely more people that can do this. And I feel like they've gone to the other side. You know, like they've gone to Bitcoin Cash, and then Bitcoin itself, we're left with all these programmers who are genius programmers who have pushed this technology so far and made it reliable for this amount of time. And I don't know, I just feel like it's such a shame in this environment right now.
Do you feel like a lot of people that are good marketers are now on the Bitcoin Cash side then?
Yeah, I feel like it. I feel like the marketers have gone on that side. At least in terms of Korean volume, like you see, you know, in Korea, in Japan, massive volume, China as well. There's a lot of people who do believe in Bitcoin Cash. And they took a fork that started off with 5% of hash power, and they didn't even mind that, right? When Bitcoin Cash, they didn't even mind that, they didn't even care. But they took something and really pushed it to the edge. And I feel like, isn't that marketing? Isn't that really, really good marketing? You take something that was just a fork, you take it that far. So I feel like a large portion of the best marketers that we have gone over to that side. So I'm not sure if I'm like naive to think that, but I feel like, you know, like we lost, the team just broke apart. So I really feel like we need some healing. We need some, you know, more guys on Bitcoin side pushing it. You know, where's Blockstream in all this? That's one of the questions I want to ask. I mean, do you know what Blockstream's doing in his whole situation?
I mean, they have a few developers, and they have some outspoken people that are on Twitter saying that they like one way or the other, but I don't know if they have that much influence, honestly.
That is also true. You know, I read all these conspiracy theories that like Blockstream's controlling all this, but you know, if you ever deal with programmers, they are stubborn, like the most stubborn people in the world, right?
Yeah, I mean, you tell Greg Maxwell, hey, we need you to say this for the sake of the company. You know what his response would be? F you, you know, like that. That's what he would say.
I'd be like, lol.
That. Like, I am sure that's what he would say. Like, he is nobody. He's not changing his opinion for anybody. He would rather quit. I'm sure of it. But you know, I mean, like this is sort of like the balkanization again, right? Like people like sort of making other people out to be sort of nefarious in some way, or evil, something like that. And you know, people do it on both sides. And I try to stay away from the conspiracy theories. For the most part, I do read some of them, but it's so crazy right now. It's so crazy.
It's absolutely insane. I mean, I was taken off by surprise. I mean, I was away in China over the weekend, and you know, Bitcoin Cash just went up to the moon, right? I mean, like that just shows how much power there is in the market for big players to really come in. I'm not sure the conspiracy. I kind of stopped saying names now. I think it's not just three people who are responsible for this. There's definitely a lot of people behind the scenes, I feel like, but it's absolutely crazy. So
Yeah, especially over the weekend. After 2x is canceled, well, where do you think all the 2x supporters are going to go? And like there was always this sense that, oh, they're a tiny minority, they don't have many bitcoins. Oh, you don't know that, right? Like, and I think there were some people that were 2x supporters that had a lot of Bitcoin that dumped a lot of those for Bitcoin Cash because they felt like that was where their vision of Bitcoin would be made. And there's some rumors about Roger Ver transferring like 45,000 Bitcoin to stuff like that. And who knows? Maybe that's true, maybe that's not. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if he did. I don't think it would surprise anybody because he's been talking up Bitcoin Cash quite a bit, and if he's putting his money where his mouth is, well, then good for him. Like that's if that's what he believes, good for him. I mean, like a lot of people make fun of Mike Hearn for sort of rage quitting and saying, okay, well, I'm going to sell all my Bitcoins when it was like $400. I mean, to some degree, yeah, it's easy to make fun of him because he made a bad investment decision. But personally, I find that pretty courageous. Like it takes courage to be able to put money behind your words. And if Roger Ver did that, or if some 2x supporter did that, well, good for them. I mean, I'm glad they put some teeth into what they believed instead of just like, sort of saying these like political things and trying to score points or whatever and not actually acting behind them. I don't like hypocrites. I don't think most people do. I think, like acting genuinely and being truthful about what you actually believe is an important characteristic. So I'd much rather have that than, liars that are just trying to manipulate things. So I mean, that does seem to be the case right now. So I don't know. What's your take on sort of like the social situation in Bitcoin? I mean, do you really feel like it's sort of we're calming down on the civil war, or is it over? What's your take?
Oh man, that's hilarious because so I do want to throw in one thing, which is so I knew Samson. I'm not sure if you know Samson Mo, the CSO of Bloxstream.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I knew him before this whole Bitcoin coin thing, right? So he runs a gaming company. Quick note: Excellion, his Twitter handle, that is the name of a game engine. And we talked about, his involvement in like prior to this, he was developing Company of Heroes, one of my favorite games of all times, and he talked about how he got teams together to do it. So we have a relationship that wasn't based on crypto, and we kind of we haven't spoken that much in these past few years. But it's funny because in his office there's a picture of the Civil War, right? The Bitcoin Civil War.
The one I commissioned. I commissioned that. That was like my first like famous Twitter thing. Was I got Philippe to like make that thing. I had the idea. I was like, can someone make this for me? He made it. I posted it, and then that ended up on Samson Mao's wall. That I remember.
Exactly. It's in his office. I was in his office. Like, whoa, you got that in your office? Oh, so now I know who made it. Nice, Jimmy. That's amazing.
I commissioned. I paid for it. Although, I think I paid $20 at the time, but that's probably closer to like $300. But worth every penny. That's one Bitcoin. That's the only Bitcoin I don't think I'll ever regret spending, because that was hilarious.
That's legit.
I think I doubled my follower count. I think it was like 100 at the time. So
it's absolutely amazing. So yeah, Civil War, it's been going on for such a long time, but I think it's taking a very much darker twist. Like there's so much stuff that's not visible anymore. The whole Bitcoin Cash thing came, and I definitely believe it's been very well coordinated. So I don't think it's just like random that Segwit 2x got canceled, and right after that the Bitcoin Cash happened. Like I feel like whether or not everyone involved in that letter that was posted for the cancellation of Segwit 2x knew about this, but the Bitcoin Cash thing was probably working in the background. So I felt like this was not just like arbitrary, oh yeah, we had this and then we had the 2x cancellation. Now Bitcoin Cash is rising. Oh, it looks so obvious, but I feel like it is probably planned in some way and coordinated in some way. So it sounds a little bit like a conspiracy theory, but it also goes to show that the Civil War is not just about, you know, Captain America and Iron Man duking it out in the open anymore. It's taken a much darker twist. It's all about what's happening behind closed doors. And the thing is, I don't have access to that conversation. I don't have access to that. So it's becoming more, instead of like an action film, I feel like it's becoming a spy thriller. Like, we don't know who's the
political intrigue, House of Cards kind of thing or something.
Yes, exactly. I feel like that's how the Civil War is becoming. It's more people, what they do in the background, what they're trying to pull off, what they're trying to do. So I feel like it's going to go on, but it's going to be much, much darker, you know? That's why I'm just asking, what's Blockstream doing now? What is their next move? What is X's next move? What is Korea going to do next? What is Jihan going to do next? What is Roger going to do next? And then, like, it's all going to be crazy. We have another, like, Segwit. I think Segwit 2X is coming up soon, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
It's in 3 days. Yeah,
3 days.
November 17th, due to sort of the slowness in the block finding on Bitcoin.
And like, what are we gonna see next, right? Like, are there any other dark conspiracies afloat? Is there?
Well, no, not necessarily dark conspiracies, but I have read of a couple new coins coming up. So Bitcoin Silver is on tap, and then there's something called Bitcoin Cash Plus, which I just found out about today. You can go to bitcoincashplus.org, and it's apparently like Bitcoin Cash, except they're using Equihash. And it's supposed to launch January 2nd is what the thing says.
Oh God.
But so I mean, it's going to be hard fork after hard fork after hard fork.
It's disgusting.
Who knows how much of a dividend you're going to get on each one, but if you're a wallet developer, here's an idea for you. Make it really easy to split coins and, you know, get your dividend onto an exchange. And, you know, that's your argument for why people should use your wallet. I bet you that would do really, really well.
That's gonna be crazy. And I don't want to respond to a comment as well. So Go Peroni says, what do you think of the censorship on r/Bitcoin? I do want to just respond to that directly. I think Jimmy and I discussed this before. I think Twitter has evolved to become a very good medium, a platform without censorship. r/Bitcoin, we do have fanatics, not fanatics, but we do have people who strongly believe in one cause. We have r/BTC as well. So I mean, there's moderators, and every time there's moderators, there's gonna be censorship and people complaining about that. So if you want a true form of discussion, Twitter is the place to go. Like, do you share the same view, Jimmy? Or
yeah. I mean, I go on r/Bitcoin sometimes, but like I think like most of the links are Twitter like statuses, and it's like, why would I go to Reddit to look at Twitter? I could go to Twitter and look at Twitter. So I mean, and like the thing about Reddit is, and you know, it's a great platform for a lot of things, but if you want your stuff read, it's not a very good place to comment, because your comment like disappears in like a day. I mean, if like I see like these huge long comments explaining some really complicated technical issue, I'm like, oh man, you're wasting it. You're wasting it. You could take that, put it into a blog post. Now everyone can look at it whenever. And like every time Greg Maxwell like posts on Reddit and it's like a really nuanced technical explanation, I'm like, oh, Greg, why are you doing that? Put it on a blog. Like put it somewhere where people can reference it and read it again. Because you're going to explain the same stuff like 2 days from now when people don't remember that your post is there. It's kind of a terrible platform for that reason. And that said, it happens a little bit on Twitter too, but this is why I blog on Medium, right? It's more permanent. You can like sort of SEO optimize it with certain titles, and if your thing gets you know, picked up by Google or something, it's like sort of there forever. Like anytime people search for certain keywords, yours is going to be in the top 5 or something. Exactly. And I really wish that were more the case with a lot of the Reddit comments.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. Post it on Medium first, and then link Reddit to it, and that's censorship free. I mean, yeah, just try that. I mean, it's crazy. I do think I do have feel for the mods as well, because there's so much trolling that goes on in this space. It's so hard to moderate. Shameless plug, by the way. I hope you don't mind, Jimmy. I started a forum up, forums.boxmining.com. You can come and discuss stuff. I'm moderating that, so you know.
A little bit centralized, don't you think?
It is centralized. Well, we got mods too, so we're setting up a community right now. So I'll put a link for that. And I do want to put out that Jimmy has a channel, so I'm just gonna put that channel link up again. So guys, all check out Jimmy's channel. He's like one of the most authoritative sources in cryptocurrency space. So like it's absolutely crazy that we have this time. And then I don't know, like I think we're gonna have this conversation 3 days from now. Just hopefully. Yeah,
maybe. I mean, we might be talking about how you know, big 2x, like that 30% just like appeared again. Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Yeah, I mean, I like that's enough. I mean, just to give you an idea, 30% is enough to attack Bitcoin Cash right now and completely reorganize like their entire blocks, like for whatever. They can completely, like that's enough to attack Bitcoin Cash and completely ruin their chain. And I don't know, maybe that's what they're gonna use it for. Who knows? But that's a lot of hashing power that just went offline. And yeah,
how many millions of dollars is that per day again? Like how much money do these guys have?
All right, so 30% of 12.5 times 144. So let's do a quick calculation. 0.3 times 12.5 times 144, and this isn't even accounting for fees, is 540 Bitcoins. So in USD that is $3.6 million, probably closer to 4 million if you account for all the fees per day that somebody is like just not doing. I mean, that said, you know, there's electricity costs that you're not paying that you would have to pay if you were mining. So, and maybe some workers or something like that. So I mean, so they've been doing this for at least like 10 days or something like that. It's that's what, like 50 million dollars. I mean,
like,
a lot of money.
Jesus. Like I was talking about this, like to put that into perspective, like most startups, when they get from a YC, the amount of money you get from YC is in like 100,000, 120,000 you get from YC. Like that's enough for like 400 startups.
Yeah. I mean, it's a significant, but you know, like relative to sort of like numbers we're used to from government. You know, I still remember I lived in Boston for a long time, and there was this big public works project called the Big Dig. And it was like just like endless construction. It was originally supposed to take $2 billion. It ended up taking 20. And people were like, $20 billion, that's so much money. Then like 2008 happened, and there was like bailouts that were in the hundreds of billions. So in a way, we've all been sort of desensitized to these like enormous numbers.
Right.
And the thing is, like 25 million, 50 million, that's a lot of money, guys. That's I mean, like, think in terms of Bitcoins. That's like 8,000 Bitcoins or something. You know, that's a lot of money. But you know,
civil war, man. That's what you gotta do.
People are earning it. You know, wars are expensive, right?
Yeah, wars are expensive, and I guess fighting for a cause. I do, you know, I do respect them for fighting for a cause, and I guess I'm terrified of how much money they have if they can afford to lose 45 million or $40 million in the past few weeks. I'm terrified of how much money they hold and how much how much that is, because you know, like it must mean nothing to you if you're doing this, right? Like, well,
yeah, I mean, if the People's Bank of China is funding this thing, I mean, that really is nothing to them, right? Like, what's $50 million? It's a drop in the bucket. It's like one very small building, government building somewhere. It's such a little amount of money.
I guess we just have to see what's going to happen, man. I think it is a scary time to think about it, to just realize how insignificant the market cap of Bitcoin actually is. I think it's still small. It's still in its infancy. We are probably vulnerable to government attacks. That might be a possibility. So many things to explore. but I think I need to go soon because I need to catch a flight. So, man, this is like one of the best sessions ever, I think. Thank you for Jimmy for, coming on. And also, I hope this can get, I'm sending links to your stuff. Do check out Jimmy's page, and of course he's been one of the amazing people in the space. So it's off chain. You're doing a new channel, like what made you start your own channel as well, Jimmy?
Well, so I wanted to see how it would go, like I'm, and this is why I'm doing this live stream with you, right? Like this is the third time today I'm live on air. I want to test out this stuff. I'm going to try lots of different things on my channel, see what works, see what doesn't, see what the audience wants, and see how I can sort of meet their needs and, sort of push them towards, doing good for Bitcoin, basically. But yeah, I wanted to try more stuff, and I felt more free to do that with my own channel. I mean, that's always the case, right? But yeah, I mean, you've obviously been doing this for a while. Do you have any tips for me for growing my audience and figuring out? Because you do like so many different types of videos, so it's just kind of astounding, actually, like the variety that you managed to get out there.
Yeah, I've been trying different things just like you. Someone asked what's my background. So my background is I've been in the game industry for a while as a project manager, also as an advertiser, as a little bit of a programmer. And Jimmy, what's your background? Just very quickly for everyone watching.
I've been a developer for 20 years.
That's insane. But you've been one of the best speakers in the space as well. And, I'm super excited to see you start your channel because, I think we really need someone, more people in the space with cryptocurrency background. You can be a programmer, but being both programmer and in the cryptocurrency space, that's very rare. And someone who can speak, that's even better. I've tried many things on my channel. I've tried, funny things. So I did funny things yesterday with Crypto Daily. I've been trying those nutshell videos where I cover things in a very quick amount of time because I feel like people don't have much attention. I don't, because I personally, not to say people, but I don't have much attention. I think I have ADD or something. Like I'm hyperactive. If you meet me in real life, I just constantly touch things for no particular reason and stuff.
Manual fixation, yeah.
But I think it's important to get people to understand something in a very short amount of time. I think that's one of the values that I want to bring to the space, and of course talk to people that's in the space as well. So shameless plug as well. I'm gonna visit another project. So I'm not sure if you heard of Walton Coin.
I have not.
Okay, it's maybe making the biggest amount of noise for a while, and it was a Chinese coin. It was like all over Reddit. Like it just completely bombed Reddit for like a few weeks before. There was lots of noise about it, and I'm actually gonna I was so skeptical about this for a while, and I think I still am. But they invited me to check them out and said, hey, we're actually a legit project. So that's what I'm gonna do this week. Shameless plug for opportunity.
Yeah, well, check it out. Yeah, I look forward to hearing your report, especially, because you're going to be honest about it and sort of say, hey,
and we're going to actually go there.
You guys are full of crap, or hey, there might actually be something here.
I don't want to do the analysis, but I want to just show people it. Like I feel like they can make the judgment for themselves. I will ask them the questions, and they can be the judge if this is good or bad, right? Like I feel like this is the I guess my contribution. So that's what I'm trying to do now. So I'm trying to go to real life, visit places. I did that for Binance. It worked pretty well. I haven't uploaded a video, guys, so sorry anyone who's watching. I haven't uploaded a Binance video yet, but I went to check out Binance. It's one of those exchanges. Have you heard of Binance?
I saw their name as one of the few exchanges trading Bitcoin Gold, but that's about it.
Gotcha. They're a Chinese exchange. They're trying to list as many things up as possible. And initially, I just talked to them, but then as I got to know them more, I visited their offices and checked them out. I thought this was the something I can offer in this space because not everyone can see them in real life, right? So I feel that's what I'm trying to do with my channel right now. So that's my direction. Instead of just providing daily news, I want to show you guys what's inside each project. So that's my angle right now. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. That's my new adventure. I'm trying new things out as well. I'm trying these live streams.
Yeah, I do it, man. I'm excited for you, and I'm sure your audience will be expect it and be excited as well, and respect what you're doing. So, but yeah, I mean, thank you for having doing this thing. It was all Boxmining's idea to like sort of dual stream. I didn't even know you could really do that. It's like you do these like weird selection things, and there's like encoding and all this stuff, and some server out there that's streaming to both our channels. Which is awesome. I'm super impressed that you figured all this stuff out. It shows you how much of a YouTube veteran you are. But yeah, I mean, thank you for like doing this with me and just sort of showing me the ropes on YouTube. You've obviously been a voice in the space, in the YouTube space for a while. So I totally have a lot of respect for what you've done. And yeah, let's do more of these. It was fun. So yeah, I mean, it sounds like at least my audience seems to be pretty happy with what we're doing. There is one question. It says, where would you recommend someone to start if they want to become a crypto developer? Well, you could take my seminar, or you can go and learn on your own. Bitcoin.org is really good. There's a bunch of other resources, but go get like Antonopoulos' book, Mastering Bitcoin. That's
Antonopoulos is great, and I need to check out your developer series. Actually, do you have a link to that?
Yeah, it's programmingblockchain.com, and that's a 2-day seminar. There've been wait, you're based out of Singapore or somewhere else?
I'm Hong Kong.
Oh, Hong Kong. Okay, all right. So there have been people in Hong Kong that have been asking me if I can come there. So at some point, I do want to do sort of an Asia tour where I teach this stuff, but yeah, I don't know how realistic that is to be.
Oh man, so it's real life. So it's not a video though, right? Like.
No, not yet.
Darn.
I do plan to do that eventually, but I want to find the right platform. I want to make sure it's like really good, that people would get a lot out of it. And I'm going to try to make it free. I don't know how realistic that is, but I am passionate about getting a lot of developers into this space. And and at that point, if I can get that video thing out, then I'll start teaching like the advanced seminar live, and then
that'd be cool.
There will always be things. I'm not worried at all about like protecting my turf or anything like that.
Yeah,
so.
it's cool, man. It's so cool you're doing this, especially having a programmer of 20 years experience coming into the space and talking. I think that's important. I wish Core would do more of that.
Well, not everyone that can code can necessarily teach it very effectively. So yeah, I mean, it's not easy. Yeah. I'll just leave it at that.
So yeah, I really admire what you do, man. So guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna rush off to the airport, and hope you guys have a good time. Thank you, Jimmy, so much for coming on. It's been super great.
Thank you, Boxmining, for having me. And can I sign us off?
Yes, sure. Sign us off.
All right. Well, this song is done.
Nice. All right, and there. I'm stopping stream.